You know, music is definitely the soundtrack to life. And while the COVID crisis has changed how it's performed, it hasn't stopped the music. But performers are getting creative. Joining us now on the MegaCast is Melodie Knappe and Daniel Wisely with the Student Choir Board at West Bloomfield High School. Thank you both for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
So, Daniel, let's go ahead and we'll start with you since you're already up. What's this been like for you? This whole past year.
Obviously, it has not been what anyone was planning for. I think we can all agree on that. But it's been a year of learning, I think, in many aspects, from virtual school to virtual choir. We've been trying a lot of new things, and I think we're learning a lot, and we're learning how to make art in different ways, in different places, and how it can extend anywhere as long as we try hard enough.
Melodie, how about for you? What's this been like?
Well, it's my senior year. And it's, as Daniel said, it's not what we expected. It's certainly not like a senior year that a typical kid would get. But that's why it's kind of so important to work hard to get these things. I spent a lot of time in my bedroom at a desk working on my computer. That's pretty
exhausting
much
in a way, right?
Yes.
So with that, how do you music is so much about being around one another and feeding off of that energy and that spark and that creativity. What's it been like to try to recreate that in some regard, but do it virtually?
I can start. I think I can't lie to you and tell you that it's the same. It's not, but we certainly do our best. Especially in our choir class, we take a lot of time to talk because it's such a bonding thing singing together, and when we're not physically singing together, it's not quite the same. So we talk about what's going on, how's everyone doing? So we're trying to bond. And so when we go on mute and sing, because we can't all sing with our mics on, it does feel like you're a part of something bigger. And even if you can't hear the person next to you, you know that they're somewhere in another house in the same town singing the same thing, and it makes you feel connected.
How about for you, Melodie?
As well as in like within a class, we do our talks, but then also on like a greater scale within the whole department, among all the different choirs, we have like bonding events. Like we got together and we all watched High School Musical together, or we had a Halloween party and like stuff like that, just trying to like retain the sense of community.
With that, how are you actually practicing as a choir when you're trying to do it virtually?
So our teacher creates, she's awesome. Mrs. Hauk, she creates like sound bits that have like the parts for each. We learn the music individually, you practice it with the audios that she sends. And then she does like recordings of her conducting along with the music, and you watch that and you sing along with that. And then everyone sends their videos in. Those get all edited together, and then that creates like a song where everyone is singing together.
So with that, Daniel, when you're doing it, what is it like if you don't have the same equipment? Like what mics are you using? And the sound has to be different for each individual as well.
It's certainly different, and it relies on technology a lot. I know like one of our Laker Express members, Kyle, his dad is one of his hobbies is like he's a videographer. And so he has like a great camera and audio equipment, whereas I use a cell phone. You know what I mean? It's not quite the same thing. But at a certain point, we're just all doing our best. And so we're going to put it together, and we do everything. We check in settings, make sure we're at like the same frame rates, stuff like that. Just so when it comes together, it's not a total mashup, if that makes sense.
So it's not, because you guys have a virtual show coming up. Are you a little nervous?
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking. Daniel and I are actually emceeing it. It's kind of nervous because you don't really know what it's going to be like. You've never heard it before. I mean, I've heard myself, but I've never heard anyone else singing. And you've no idea how it's going to come together because, I mean, choirs are so much about the collective voice. And so when you're singing together, even just one person, like being missing from a choir, even like a 50-person choir, it really changes the sound of the choir. And so it's just, you don't know what to expect, but it's a little fun surprise each time. And sometimes you're like, oh, that was way better than I thought it would be?
So are you guys using like a certain program to try to record everything in a certain program with the same audio?
So we each basically like use our camera app. We check our settings, make sure all our settings are uniform across the board. But our teacher, Mrs. Hauk, she's working her butt off to put everything together. And she uses Final Cut Pro on her Mac, which is advanced editing software, but it's just anyone could buy it, you know what I mean? And putting the videos and all the audio together.
Yeah, because it's one thing to do the video, but also to manipulate the audio so it comes across as you all singing together. And with that, so how many songs are going to be a part of the virtual performance?
We have 1 to 2 songs for each choir. We have, I think, 4 different choirs. And then we also have solos from the choirs as well. So that's kind of making our mashup.
Daniel, do you want to talk a little bit about your upcoming part of this performance? So you're going to be one of the MCs?
Yeah, so Melodie and I are going to MC the event together. So we're going to be, normally there wouldn't be an MC at a choir concert. Choirs would come in and off the stage as they're transitioning. We have soloists, but in a virtual format, it's like we're playing videos that have been edited together. So Melodie and I are going to jump in and say, hey, you know what, here's this choir, here's a fun fact about this song. This is why it means a lot to us, that kind of thing. And then we'll play the video and just kind of hopefully make the night run smooth.
Daniel, I love your shirt. Hope and
Thanks.
Harmony.
That's that's the theme of the concert this year, actually. Melodie has hers on as well. And in a tough time, we came up with this theme during COVID, obviously. But so our theme for the this year is Hope and Harmony, because I think we could all use a little bit of hope right now.
Isn't that the truth, right? And with that, how do you think the music industry is going to change because of COVID? Will you be comfortable one day going back to a live concert?
I think I would. I'm not sure it would be soon. I think the great thing about creating sort of these new virtual platforms is that it makes art accessible to a lot more people. It makes it so that, like my grandparents in Canada can watch my show and like that kind of thing, things they couldn't do before. So I think it's not real, live stage shows aren't going away anytime soon. I think they'll be back. But I think it's also cool that we've adapted and so that there's going to be new platforms to use going forward.
So Melodie, you said you're a senior?
Yes, ma'am.
So hopefully you guys can get back to the classroom at least for some type of graduation or something. But what are you studying next year? Do you know? Are you going to college? Do you have your future plans kind of ironed out yet?
Yeah, I do plan to go to college, get a degree. Right now, I'm not looking at anything music related. It's a hobby. It's a great hobby. I definitely won't lose it in the future. I'll be singing in choirs in college, but I'm planning to go for a literature degree and a political science degree.
So Daniel, do you want to talk a little bit about what music means to you as an individual and how it's helped you during this crisis?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, it's what we call You Matter Week at our high school, which is like our mental health awareness week. So it's I think this is a perfect time to be talking about it. And personally for me, music has helped me heal in a time where we feel isolated and afraid. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm afraid to turn on the news. I'm sure you guys are too. Music's kind of brought me back to comfort. So whether it's singing it or listening to it or supporting my friends who are trying to make music. You know what I mean? Putting songs on Spotify, things like that. Just music, it makes me feel comfortable and it makes me feel grounded. And so for me, it has really kept me sane during the pandemic.
So, and with that, do you think that in some ways the technology we have today makes it easier for performers such as yourself to be able to put together your own song and put it out to the public?
Absolutely. I think with things like you can have GarageBand on your phone, you know what I mean? You can get a beat going, you can get anything. You also think you have TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you can use those platforms to brand yourself, get your music out there. I think compared to 10, 20, 50 years ago, I think now is the time to be a musician because it's the easiest time to consume music.
The easiest time to consume it, but it could be a hard time right now for performers to actually make money off of it as well because those live venues have been closed this entire time. Melodie, before we let you go, just a couple more minutes with the two of you. Do you want to tell us about the concert?
Sure. The concert's going to be on the 16th. It's our winter concert. It's holiday themed. We have lots of holiday themed and hope themed songs from our choirs and from some soloists. And we're just going to try and come together as a community and enjoy some music.
Daniel, you want to give a shout out to your choir coach?
Absolutely. Mrs. Cheryl Hauk, she's helping us get through it all, and she's terrific about keeping us together and making things happen. So we love you, Mrs. Hauk.
Well, we wish you both and your entire choirs the best of luck because it is a trying time to try to be a part of the choir. And I'm sure back in the beginning, you were thinking this isn't possible, but you found the impossible in the possible and the impossible. So best of luck to all of you, and a huge shout out to your choral director as well for all of her work and trying to actually make this happen.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you, Ronnie. We appreciate it.